everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl LB if you don't know me. Today I'm coming to you guys to give a video on why I chose the field of school psychology. If you're interested in learning more about that, just stay tuned. So if you didn't watch my last video, make sure you go watch that. In that video I basically just give a summary of, me transitioning from moving from Michigan to DC to go to Howard to pursue my master's degree. If you didn't watch that video, make sure you watch it before this one. I currently attend the Mecca. See, sweatshirt, on brand, whatever. I currently attend Howard University, and I am in the master's slash specialist program for school psychology. I'm gonna get a little bit more into depth of what that means. And I'm a first year student. I am literally coming up in 2 weeks. I'll be done my first semester. It went by so fast. So fast. Like literally, I looked up and like it was about to be Thanksgiving. And once after Thanksgiving, it's finals and then you're done until the spring. So I have got a lot of insight into my field. A lot of education behind like the opportunities I would have as an aspiring school psychologist. So I want to just share that with you all, just in case anybody might need the extra help, because I know I do, and I did, and will continue to moving forward. I have a couple notes, so if you see me looking down, that is what I'm doing, because I'm trying to stay on track, because I have the attention span of a squirrel. So like I said, I am currently at Howard. I did get my my undergrad bachelor's degree in psychology, and I just knew I wanted to go something deeper into psychology, and I knew I wanted to be in education, but I didn't really know to what capacity until I found school psych. Now, before I got into my school psych program, and when I was just looking at programs in general that would fit the mode of what I thought I wanted to do, I really looked into clinical psychology, and just realized, like, I swear for years I was just saying, oh, I want to go into clinical psych. I want to get my doctorate in clinical psychology, and I had no idea why. Literally no idea. It was just so good to roll off the tongue and just hear, like, I'm going to get my doctorate in clinical psych. I'm going to be somebody's psychologist. I'm going to help all y'all, whatever. But as I started digging deeper into, like, what I really wanted to do, I didn't know why I wanted that. So starting my junior year, I want to say, I started to open up my options for what I wanted to do. So I looked at clinical psych for a good while. I looked at social work for a good while, clinical mental health counseling, counseling in general. I looked in a bunch of different things, just psychology, anything like pertaining to psychology and how I could potentially work in the schools. And then one day I had a meeting with my mentor. Shout out to Dr. Gaines at MSU. But I had a meeting with her, and she was just like, what about school psych? And I was like, I don't really know much about it. And she was like, you should do some research by the time we have our next meeting and let me know what you think. And I'm like, all right, bet. So I was kind of sold on Howard, coming to Howard, but I wasn't, I hadn't applied yet. I was still saying I was keeping my options open for school, but I knew I wanted to go to HBCU, and Howard was my first choice. So I wanted to make sure first that they had the program that I was looking for. So I did see that they had the master's and the doctorate school psychology program. At the time, I didn't think to just, apply to the PhD program, because honestly, I'm not trying to be in school for another 5 to 6 years right now. That's just not where I'm at. So I know I wanted to go into the master's program, master's specialist program. So the difference between the master's and the doctorate, I'm still learning this myself, so I'm not like 100% like clear. But from the presenters and alumni that I've had the pleasure of speaking with, I guess, through Howard, so far I have grasped that, for one, it's the time difference. For specialist programs, you're in school for like minimum 3 years, 3 extra years. So 2 years of courses and practicum, which is like field experience, and 1 full year of internship, no classes, which is you actually in the field, practicing, assessing, etc. And doctorate starts at like 5 years. And with that, you can just do a lot more with it from what I'm hearing, depending on what you want to do. I'm not going to say like you need it because I'm still trying to figure that out. But so far, I'm getting that you don't need it depending on what you're trying to do. So if you want to go into like private practice, you know, potentially work as a professor or something along those lines, to get contracted out to different school systems or whatever. If you want to do anything along those lines, then you probably will need a doctoral degree. But for what I want to do right now, I know I want to work in schools. I know that I'm not limited for what I really want to do with the master's. I knew that I'm just learning as I go along and hearing from both perspectives of like graduated alumni who graduated through the master's program and through the doctoral program, that master's is where I think I want to be right now. So that's where I'm staying, because they keep giving us the option like, you know, you should apply to that doctorate program and just switch over. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I know that Howard like produces the most Black doctors in the country, but I'm just not 100% sold on like taking that big step into jumping into that program right now. I would rather finish my master's, and then if come later in life, or even a couple years, you never know, if I want to decide to go into the doctorate program or a different PhD program in general, then I'll do that. But for right now, that's where I'm at. Why did I choose school psych, and why did I choose a school psych program at Howard? So I chose school psych because the field in general is really based around advocacy, for one, advocating for students and mental health, resources, education. I noticed that, well, I'm coming to find out in the field, even though I kind of like already guessed this, because just the psychology field in general is like very, 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 very whitewashed. But it doesn't mean that the information and the research and all of that is not important. It just means that there are not many people of color in psychology fields that are able to, I'm not saying that, you know, white people can't properly advocate for people of color, but not the same way that, you know, a Black woman or a person of color could for their own people. So I really picked Howard to come to for school psych because they made even their like curriculum, everything that they're doing based around what they teach us is really a huge emphasis on cultural competence and being culturally competent and advocating for students the best way you can. Because too often, and we're learning this right now, literally right now, in school psychologists, they are thought to be like people that just are here to like label your kid, to like say that something's wrong with them when that's not really the case. I'm not saying that hasn't been the case before, but the field is changing. We're getting more people of color in the field, and we're trying to, you know, overall, we're just trying to change the field to be more culturally competent, to be able to better serve minority students, Black students specifically, because currently there's a lot of labeling going around, overpopulating Black students into special education programs, not enough resources available, funding, just a lot of things wrong with the field, especially in inner city school systems, which is where I plan to practice. That just really just need to be revamped and like rejudged and just, you know, overall reconstructed to better service the students, because the whole field is not just about assessments, as a lot of people think that it is. A big chunk of it is, but it's also about like just a counseling aspect, being there for your students, advocating for your students, being able to make sure that your students get the best resources that they can to be able to positively move forward in their educational career and just through life in general. Because what you find out is that when these students are put into these put under these labels and put into these programs wrongfully, or not getting the resources that they need, then moving forward into adolescence, adulthood, they come into a lot of troubles, you know, a lot of issues that could be avoided if they had the proper resources in school systems growing up. If you think about it, and I tell people this all the time, students spend majority of their life in school, K through 12. Not at home, but at school. You're literally at school more than you're at home, except for right now, because, you know, virtual learning. But usually, before the whole COVID thing, that's where you really develop who you are as a person, from who you're around and the resources that you have at school, because that's where you are majority of the time. So if there is a disconnect there, it causes a disconnect everywhere. Literally everything that encompasses you, everywhere that you are, is going to be a disconnect because you're not getting the resources that you might need. So that's why I chose school psych. I really just want to be of service to Black and minority students specifically, especially since in the field of school psychology, like I said, psychology in general, but specifically in school psychology, there is just not that diversity that we need, and we're just starting to get those conversations about issues in curriculum and how we're training school psychology, how they're training school psychologists to like be culturally competent. And what I really love about Howard is like, I could have went to a PWI. I could have did it. I could have stayed at MSU for all I care. I didn't want to, so I didn't. But I could have stayed at MSU. I could have went to a PWI, but I don't feel like I would have got that same experience, education, that I do at Howard. I went to PWI for undergrad. I know how much they say is like, they so positive about diversity and inclusion, and that's just really not what it is. It's just all for numbers, all for stats. They really don't put the work in that they say that they do to accommodate for their minority students. So I knew for a fact that Howard would do that. So that's what that's why I decided to come here, along with a bunch of other reasons, because Howard is just it. Honestly, period. Even though they had their problems, they just it. I'm sorry. If you don't get a chance to come, you missed out on a lot. Period. Anyway, psychology, I do plan to do more videos around this education, the school psychology field, and just my experience completing my degree, another degree that I chose to jump into. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope you got like a glimpse of like what the field really looks like, and what to expect, kind of. I'm really excited for my next semester, honestly. I learned so much this semester, despite like me wanting to rip my wig off half the time because of just all the reading. I did learn a whole lot, and I'm really excited for next semester, especially starting practicum soon, even though it's kind of nerve-wracking, especially with the virtual learning and not being able to go into the school systems like we should be, how they have in the past for practicum, internship even. But I'm still really positive about it. I know Howard has come up with something to accommodate us and make sure that our training experiences as aspiring school psychologists is top tier, period. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any new videos I post. And I will see you guys in the next one.